Hello and welcome to Living Life Naturally. I'm your host, Lynn Wadsworth, a board certified holistic health practitioner and a certified wellness cooking instructor, and I'm here to help you walk in your own truth as you enter into this new and exciting season of life. So here on the podcast, we explore everything that helps you thrive, not just survive, in this powerful season of life. We talk about natural, holistic solutions for your health, your hormones, your energy, and your mindset, because midlife isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of an entirely new chapter. So before we dive into today's conversation, I'd love to invite you ladies to come and join me in my free Facebook community, the Energized Healthy Women's Club. It's a beautiful space where I share weekly tips, strategies, and inspiration to help you boost your health, vitality, and well-being in natural, practical ways. So grab your favorite cup of tea, get cozy, and let's get into today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode on the Living Life Naturally podcast, where you hear all things to do with midlife, perimenopause, and menopause, because it's such a hot topic for us as we reach that stage of life. And so joining me here today is Dr. Marcia Harris. She is from both Columbia and Cornell. She's a trained surgeon turned, I love this, hormone restoration pioneer. And she's helped thousands of midlife women reclaim their energy, sexual vitality, and quality of life. So with over 40 years of clinical experience, she's challenging outdated menopause care. Can we have an amen for that? And as the founder of the Wellness Restoration Center, she specializes in hormone optimization, midlife sexual wellness, regenerative medicine, and personalization treatment strategies for both men and women. And of course, mainly here we're talking about women and to women. So I would really like to give you a huge warm welcome. Dr. Harris, we're so thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And let me just say before you even ask a question or say anything, it is just so important what you're doing.
Thank you.
So important. So I know your audience recognizes that because of where we are right now, you know?
Right. Yes, it's a big topic, one in my day that was just not talked about. So I'm thrilled to be part of the generation that's now talking about it, and there's more freedom around it.
Well, you know, it's funny because I'm from the previous generation, and back in the 60s and 70s and 80s, we talked about it. We talked about it and we treated it. It was at the end of the 90s, the turn of the century, that this whole thing, you know, went away.
Yeah. And then, goodness, let's not talk about that anywhere for people to find out what's going on and what it's all about. But tell me and tell our audience why you're so passionate about this area that you have decided to practice in.
Well, you know, I actually, as I just said, I've been around for a long time. I love telling people I've been out of medical school for more than 50 years. And, you know, I think I look pretty good.
Yes, you do.
For the era that I came from. But I found this for me because I had a huge OBGYN practice right in New York City. And I did not recognize the fact that I had a problem until I was told. We talked about it. I treated women with it, but until my husband pointed out to me that 2 weeks of the month, I was the nicest person, and 2 weeks of the month, I was a bee with a, you know, behind it. I didn't recognize it. And it was like, oh, wait a minute. You're right. You're right. That's exactly right. Now, what happened at that time was that I actually went out and found treatments because it was like I couldn't stand me. Matter of fact, if you wanted to clear the halls at New York Hospital, all you had to do was have me come off the elevator. The nurses would duck into rooms and then peek out to see what kind of mood I was in that particular day. They would also look at my feet because I even operated in 4 and 5 inch heels
Wow.
all day in the operating room, etc. But if I was in flat shoes, sneakers, or sandals, no. You were going to have a bad day because the instruments would get thrown. The screaming, you wouldn't be able to take it, to the point where, as I said, I couldn't stand me. So I had to find a way to stand me. So,
Right.
you know, I actually started out with yam cream.
Yes, I did too.
Remember yam cream?
Yep.
Started out with yam cream and went up the line until we got to bioidentical hormones.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that a little later. First of all, I want to ask you this. So, why is it in this day and age where so much is out there, why is it that menopause is still taboo?
You know, it is, let's back it up. Menopause is taboo because it's not recognized that it's not a disease. It's a deficiency
Mm,
state. It is not a disease. And just as how a patient comes to me with a thyroid deficiency,
mhm.
I treat that. A patient comes to me with an insulin deficiency. I mean, somebody comes in with a blood sugar of 400. I'm
Wow.
not going to say, it's okay, sweetheart. You know, your insulin's gone. It's not working properly anymore. But I'm so sorry. There's nothing we can do about it. No, I'm going to take care of it. Menopause, on the other hand, is a deficiency. How do we treat it? We dismiss it. We have so many myths and misconceptions
Mm,
that you literally don't take care of it. And that's why I'm so happy that now we're actually starting. And I say starting because we have a long way to go, but we're actually starting to do what needs to be done.
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I know that regularly, if doctors are in all of their training, they have little training on the area of menopause.
Well,
And
again, they used to teach about menopause, but
interesting.
that Women's Health Initiative study at the
Hmm.
turn of the century, that changed the entire trajectory because that literally stopped. It shut the door, just slammed the door on menopause. And there's a whole generation of women who have no idea, even the doctors, because they stopped teaching about it. Now, the whole Women's Health Initiative study was a good idea. It was an excellent idea. The head of the CDC at the time, I forget her name, we thought we knew that hormones actually protected our hearts. And we thought that it protected our brains, and we thought it protected our bones. We now know that all of that is true. But at the time, there were no studies to prove this.
Mm.
So she came up with the idea, let's have a national study, enroll women, and make it a nice prospective study. It was supposed to be for 10 years. And let's do this and let's prove it. But they went around about it the wrong way, because the study itself was tremendously flawed. And it was flawed on every single level. It was flawed on the level of the hormones that were used, because it was the conjugated equine estrogen, horse's urine. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not a horse. You know, so literally the molecule was close enough that it helped, but it was not the same. The stuff we're using now, the bioidentical hormones, it's the exact molecule that our body makes, sourced from plants. The diastenin, which is compounded into the estrogen and testosterone and progesterone, is the exact molecule that our bodies make. So the key actually fits the lock. What happened back then is that the horse's urine did not fit the lock. So number one, the hormones were off. Oh, and then the other thing, the Provera was a chemical compound which the body didn't recognize at all. As a matter of fact, you know, in terms of the study, the estrogen part of it, the part what was done for hysterectomized women, where they were just given estrogen, none of the progestin, they actually were good. Those women, even with the horse's urine, didn't do badly. As a matter of fact, that portion of the study proved that breast cancer, that, you know, the whole breast cancer thing, that portion of the study, there was less breast cancer in the portion of the study without the progestin. You know, so on all levels, that was important. Now, the second thing, in addition to what was used in the study, was the fact that they got rid of all women who had any symptoms. And the average age of the women in the study were 63, 64, 65. The average age of the women in the study. So you're talking about 13, 14, 15 years post-menopause.
Yes, yes.
Made absolutely no sense. Made no sense, because we know that the hormones are protective. We thought they were protective. There are estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. There are hormone receptors in every single cell in the body. And there are literally 400 functions which are dependent on our hormones. Now, if you wait 10, 12, 13, 14 years after, that decline has already happened. So what are you going to prove?
Right.
You know, so basically, from on all levels, the type of hormone that was used, the fact that they waited that long, you know, the average age was, I mean, the damage was already done.
Yeah, that's true. So now with the bioidentical hormones, I know that you've got some people that say, oh yes, they're great. Other people that say, well, I'd rather not take anything. So where do you stand on that?
Well, as you know, where I stand on that,
Yeah.
as opposed to the gurus out there who are saying that, yes, you know, treat the symptoms, and yes, if you have to give the hormones. Actually, the National Menopause Society says give as little as possible for the shortest amount of time. That makes absolutely no sense to me, because if these hormones are important to the functioning of all the cells. You have cells until you die.
Right.
So why are we going to only treat for as little as possible, as short a time as possible with as little a dose as possible? Everybody, as far as I'm concerned, Perry Mason, da-da, da-da, da-da. I mean, the case is for treating hormones with hormones. It makes absolutely no sense to say don't treat unless you have to. Everybody should get it. And not only that, the sooner you start, the better. We should actually start treating women in perimenopause,
Yes,
39,
yes.
40, 42, 44, when the decline starts. Because if you get it when the decline starts, then the decline won't happen. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
The decline won't happen if you start the treatment right away and keep it for as long as you can.
So in other words, what happens to those women who fall through the cracks and they're ignoring that they've got all these symptoms and so they're not treated?
But it's a matter of education. It literally is a matter of education. We, because of the stigma that's been on it, and the stigma is for many reasons. I mean, we've been dismissed. We don't count. I mean, traditionally, women have not been included in any medical research. Traditionally, everything's been done on men and then extrapolated to everybody else, So we have to start now making sure that we, number one, educate, which the medical schools, I don't know if they've started doing it again yet, but they have to. We're half of the population. We're 50% of the population, but nothing is done on us. And all of this information that we're now getting, is by default. It needs to be done, and it needs to be done now, and it needs to be done on us. And it needs to be started in perimenopause as far back as, 39, 40, 41, as soon as perimenopause starts. But it comes down to education. The women don't know. They just know they don't feel well, and they go into the doctor. And what does the doctor do? The doctor dismisses them.
Dismisses them, or sometimes does a blood test, which really doesn't help when women are still ovulating.
There you go. Absolutely. Because again, it's all over the place. You've got to go with what you have and what you know. You know that this is happening. And you also know that the blood test doesn't tell you anything, because one test is just one point in time.
Yes.
And it's all over the place. So one test is really not going to give you that information. I have a patient, what actually started me back on this trajectory about a year, I'm going to say a year and a half ago, last year sometime, was I had a 42-year-old come in who had been suffering for almost 2 years. And she was non-functional. She was completely non-functional. She had gone to her doctor, who told her to grin and bear it. She went to another doctor who said, oh, it's normal, it'll go away, or maybe it'll stop, you're so young. All right. And she went to 5 different practitioners looking for help. Matter of fact, the 5th person she went to was the head of the menopause clinic at one of the premier New York institutions. I'm obviously not going to say which one, but this woman sent her home with gabapentin, Prozac, and Veoza. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This was the head of the menopause clinic. And I'm like, sweetheart, you do not have a Prozac deficiency. You have a hormone deficiency. You don't have a gabapentin deficiency. You have a hormone deficiency. You don't have a Veoza deficiency. Treat what's deficient. Replace what's deficient. And within 8 weeks, she was blessing me. God bless you, God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. You know, I don't understand. And this is the head of the menopause clinic. And that's when I said, you know what? I've got to jump into this arena because what's happening is not right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember going when I was 39 to the doctor, and I know that this is years ago. And I said, I do believe I'm in menopause. And he just looked at me and he said, not possible, you're too young, and sent me home.
Yeah,
And so my daughter had a few months ago said to me, you know, my doctor tells me I'm not in menopause, but I've got this, 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 and this. And I said, you've got to go by the symptoms because you're not going to have them tell you you're in perimenopause. Go by your symptoms
yeah,
and then advocate for yourself. Find somebody that can do something for you more naturally.
yeah. That's actually where we are. I'm just so happy though that the attention finally is shifting.
Yes.
The attention finally is shifting, and I intend to help it shift. You
Yeah.
know.
What do you see as the future of this whole menopause care?
Oh, it absolutely has to come in our direction. We, number one, have to advocate for ourselves,
Yes. Yes.
but that comes with education. So we have got to have people out there to offer the education, which again is jumping into the fray. You know, we've got to do that. So we've got to advocate for ourselves. We've got to be educated on it. We have got to take the bull by the horn and understand. I mean, let's face it. We have now proven with certainty that it is helpful. And if we treat it, the decline does not happen. So we have got to make sure that we treat it so that the decline does not happen.
Right, right.
You know, and menopause care right now, I think is headed in the right direction, but we have got to get it to the next level. We've got to get it to the next level. You know, women, as we've aged, we've been called, it's been said that we're declining. You know, youth, and I mean, women have always been seen for their beauty and their, you know, not for their brain, or men are called distinguished and we're called declining. Does that make sense? As men get older, they tell you, oh, he's getting older, he's distinguished. But we're after 45, they throw us out to pasture. No, we have got to grab the bull by the horns and say, we are here, we're living more than up to half our life.
Yes.
Because the average age of death now for a woman is 86, as opposed to in the old days, by the time we started getting symptoms, or the symptoms got so severe that they needed to be addressed, we were ready to die.
Right.
Average age of death was 50 or 52 or 55, and that's now 86.
Yes.
In addition, the things that the hormones actually affect, like our heart. Cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of women. You would think it was breast cancer. It's not. Cardiovascular disease is the number one killer of women. Think about our bones.
Yes.
Estrogen maintains our bones. Testosterone rebuilds normal trabecular bone. Matter of fact, even people treating menopause now, today, will give estrogen and still won't give testosterone. There are lots of doctors out there who don't know and don't acknowledge the fact that we have more testosterone than we have estrogen. We've got 10 times less than men, but we've got 10 times more than we have estrogen, even though estrogen is the uniquely female hormone. But testosterone does for us the same thing it does for men. Energy, muscle tone, libido. I mean, it does exactly the same thing. We need our testosterone. Osteoporosis. What takes little old women out more than hip fractures? There's almost like a 50% attrition rate. Up to 50% of women who, little old ladies who break a hip, don't live a year. Come on. When some estrogen and testosterone will get rid of osteopenia and osteoporosis.
Yeah, it's just finding a doctor that will help you see the big picture and help you really get through this age and well beyond post-menopause in a healthy fashion.
Well, I'm happy that that is finally being addressed, and that now there are more doctors out there, even though they're not enough. They're still not enough.
Yeah.
And they're still, I mean, I have patients who still come in saying, my gynecologist keeps telling me to come off that stuff and telling me that it's garbage. Gynecologists. Makes absolutely no sense. And I know that was what came out of the Women's Health Initiative study, but that was debunked 20 years ago. That was literally debunked within a couple of years of coming out. But because of the fact that when the study came out, it was front page New York Times and front page Wall Street Journal and Washington Post and what have you, hormones cause cancer. Within 2 years, they had debunked that, but it was 2 paragraphs on page 30 of the paper.
Yeah.
And because the medical schools stopped teaching about it, there is an entire generation of women who have been shortchanged. We have got to change that. We have got to change that. And I'm on a mission to do so.
Good. So do you just see people in the office, or do you do online?
I do online as well. And I'm coming out with my own online course. And as a matter of fact, I would like to offer your viewers my, what is it called? The Ultimate Menopause Survival Toolkit.
Okay.
Okay. The Ultimate Menopause Survival Toolkit. And it addresses all aspects of what goes on, what happens in the body, how we can fix it, and why it's important.
And where would they find that, Dr. Marcia?
On the website. If they just have to put toolkit, and it'll get sent. My website is, what is my website?
I'll put it in the show notes. I have it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm an old lady kicking and screaming. I have no technical skills whatever.
Well, and it's ever changing, so it's hard to keep up. So I really appreciate all this wonderful information. As you say, the more we can get the word out and educate women, the better we will do on that front. And it's so important. So I really appreciate it. I appreciate you spending this time with me. And do you have any last tips that you'd like to give to our women?
Well, the last thing I would like to say is that ignoring menopause is ignoring a woman's long-term health. It is really that important that we treat menopause hormonally.
Mm.
Now, again, there are people who won't be able to take it for whatever reason, but in general, it really is important that we treat it because of the number of things that are affected when we go through menopause. That's number one. And number two, it's always been approached as if this has to do with aging. You know, you're chasing youth. We're not chasing youth, ladies. You're chasing health.
Yes,
all right?
yes.
You're not chasing youth. You're chasing health. Preserving your function is actually rewriting your future. Preserving your function is rewriting your future, because if you can stave off cardiovascular disease and osteoporosis and osteopenia and Alzheimer's, women, 2/3 to 3/4 of the people with Alzheimer's are women. And it's all hormonally related. If we replace the hormones, all the things that are affected will not be. And because of that, we will actually be healthier going forward. You know, we're living to 86. Let's live to 86.
Yes.
Productively and healthily.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to, as I said, use hormones. If you have a thyroid problem, it's a deficiency. Well, menopause creates a deficiency. It needs to be fixed, just as you would fix diabetes or you would fix hypothyroidism.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Gosh, you have so much wisdom. We could talk on and on, but I appreciate your input. I appreciate you and for the mission that you have. And I would ask our listeners that you give a podcast episode a subscribe on YouTube, a like, or a 5-star recommendation, because we really need to get the word out there so that fewer women will go down that slippery slope and instead live a healthy, long life. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you so much, Dr. Marcia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today on the Living Life Naturally podcast. I really hope you enjoyed today's conversation and that it inspired you, encouraged you, and reminded you that midlife isn't something to endure, it's a season to embrace. So if you enjoyed this episode, would you do me a huge favor? Please take a minute to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. So until next time, ladies, remember, you are strong, you are wise, and you are just getting started. Take care of yourself because you are so worth it.